Are you ready to finally declutter? Then let's go. Welcome to GA Atelier, the podcast where intentional interior design meets mindful living. I'm your host, Shihan Askar, and I'm here with you on this journey to transform our living spaces into sanctuaries that reflect our unique story, personality, style, and lifestyle, while elevating our everyday life at home. So step inside my design workshop and let's design your home together. So in part 1 of this series on decluttering, we've already discussed 3 new ideas that I wanted you to consider when you are looking at decluttering. It gives you kind of a different perspective. First, that decluttering is not just about getting rid of stuff, it's actually about making space for new things to come into your life. The second one is that clutter actually weighs you down, not only physically and visually with all the stuff around you, but mentally and in the form of delayed decisions. The third concept was to look at an item and ask yourself, does this item belong in my future? Do I still want it? And from there, we try to set the intention on why you want to declutter. How will it change or improve your home and your life? And if you didn't listen to the past 2 episodes, go back and listen to part 1 and part 2 of this series. Which brings us to today, to actually getting started on decluttering. And here are a few things to consider when you start the process, especially so that you can keep the momentum going and you don't lose steam. First is to allocate the time, and the second is to choose a specific space or category you want to start with. So you really want to think about how long decluttering a certain space will take and choose a day or time of day accordingly. And I personally noticed that in the beginning especially, it usually takes longer than we think, because we haven't practiced making decisions fast enough. And we could be looking at spaces that have been neglected for quite a while. So give yourself a lot of time, more than you think, especially in the beginning. I actually recently cleaned my closet in a totally new way, at least for me. And instead of rushing through the process, which I've done before, by just looking at the items and, deciding, okay, do I like it? Does it still fit? And all of that. I actually took the time to not only try on each item, but actually wear it an entire day before deciding. I really took my time with answering questions like, do I love it? Does it fit? Am I comfortable in it? Does it fit my style and my lifestyle? Would I buy it again now or in the future? And as you can imagine, that took a very long time, but the results were amazing. And I also suggest starting small, especially again in the beginning. Even if you really want fast results and are super motivated right now, you might get tired and then never finish. So start maybe with a drawer, or one area in a room, or a category, until the process becomes easier for you. Then clear everything out of the space. As much as possible, really remove everything so you can see the space empty, and maybe even keep it empty for a while to clearly see how much space you have. Take your time. There is a sense of luxury when you have breathing room physically in a space that is not stuffed with stuff, and mentally give yourself breathing room to decide intentionally what you want to keep and what you want to get rid of. Then clean the space entirely before you start putting items back in. And a little bonus here is that you can even do that with wall art or photos and decor items. These things that we don't necessarily consider clutter, but could use a little updating. We stop seeing things when they're always in the same place, always the same stuff. So just remove everything, consider each item, and again, leave the walls empty for a while, leave a shelf empty for a while, and that can help spark new ideas for a design refresh. Then make the usual 3 piles. I'm sure you've heard that before. One is to keep, one is to donate, one is to trash. And if you want, you can also add a pile for unfinished projects or things that are maybes, just to make decision making easier in the beginning and keep the momentum going. We really want you to keep going so that you don't break the momentum. But try not putting everything in this pile. It's really just for a few things that are maybes and that you will reconsider later. And then ask yourself the usual questions. Do I use it? Do I love it? But also the new questions we've discussed before in the previous episode. Does it belong in my future? Would I buy it again? Do I envision my home and my lifestyle with this item? Does it reflect my style, my updated style, my updated lifestyle, or the lifestyle I'm trying to cultivate? Does it boost my energy? Does it drain my energy? All these questions will help you decide and look at items a little bit more intentionally than just asking, do I love it and do I use it? And as much as possible, then you're going to group and store similar items and categories together. This will make it easier when you're looking for stuff, and it will make it easier to have an organized system that you can later maintain, which we will discuss in the next episode. And speaking of organizing, here's my opinion on clutter versus mess. Mess usually means you're actively using the space and you can easily put things back where they belong once you're done. For example, a messy kitchen during cooking. Clutter is stuff that has been sitting in a space for a while. It's been neglected. You don't really want to deal with it. You don't want to look at it. Like I said, it represents delayed decisions. Mess you can quickly tidy up and clean up. Clutter requires some editing and curating. So don't just clean and organize clutter. Edit it first. I actually had a client recently ask me during a design consultation about a bedroom makeover. She wanted to change the design of the bedroom, and she thought that she absolutely needed a dresser in the room. But I pointed out that, first of all, she had tons of unused space in her walk-in closet, which was pretty big. She just was not using it to its full potential. And she herself said that there's a lot of stuff in the drawers of that dresser and even in that walk-in closet that she wanted to get rid of. So really take your time before making assumptions that you will need more storage or keep the same storage to declutter first. So before you need storage or boxes to get organized, declutter first. Then you organize the stuff. You might not end up needing as much storage as you think. Which also brings me to the idea that decluttering somehow implies minimalism, which in my opinion again is not true. If everything you have, you love it, you use it, and it speaks to you personally, it adds and supports your lifestyle, it speaks to your unique style, then keep it. It might need organizing, but you don't have to get rid of it. And this is where intentional decluttering comes in. By considering the emotions and memories you associate with each item, you can create a curated collection that brings you joy. And that curation could mean sometimes you remove things and sometimes you add things. But it's all intentional. So to stay motivated, focus also on what you're gaining by decluttering, not what you're losing or getting rid of. You're gaining clarity, calm, and hopefully some space. you are gaining a design that really speaks to your likes and preferences. I really believe decluttering will transform how you feel at home, and it's the best way to prepare your space for a new design if you end up feeling like you need one or you just want to refresh your home. I hope this episode helped you in getting started on decluttering. Next week, we'll discuss how to maintain that space organized and clutter-free and get ready to design. Thank you for joining my atelier. Don't forget to follow the podcast by clicking on the little plus sign at the top. And please consider rating the show and writing a review. It helps a lot. And on your app, you can just scroll down where you see reviews and click there to do that. See you in the next episode.